champion versus champion. And in the end, we find out who is the big fish of the welterweight division. 27-4, Yordenis Ugas.
You know who I am by now. This is not only going to be a clash between us, but also between two of the greatest trainers in the world. Spence promised a knockout, I promise a win.
27-0, Errol Spence Jr.
I know Ugass coming to fight. I know his coach got a so-called great game plan. But on Saturday now, I'm looking forward to adding the WBA to my title.
What does this one bring to you to be here in Dallas, have 3 belts on the line?
It's an honor to be fighting at home, and I welcome the challenge.
I came back from being 15-3, and ever since then, I have established myself as part of the elite. I promise you, blood, sweat, everything that I have to give. This fight is everything to me.
I'm going to play his ass. I'm going to put on a great show and another great performance. I want to become the future undisputed welterweight champion of the world.
They say everything is bigger in Texas, and ladies and gentlemen, it does not get much bigger than a world welterweight title unification right here in Dallas, Texas. Welcome to the weigh-ins for Errol Spence Jr. versus Yordenis Ugas. I'm Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell. We're the hosts of Morning Combat. There's La Leyenda, El Diamante himself.
Let's go, baby.
Raul Marquez, and at the end, you know that's Stack, 2003 NBA champion, and of course, one half of the All the Smoke podcast. It's Steven Jackson. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Glad to be here. I'm pumped up, man. If you're here in Texas, not too far from Houston.
That's right.
3.5-hour drive. A big welterweight fight. We're ready.
They say for 6'8" he stood. We got a former champion here, but we got somebody who knows how to use his hands just the same, all right?
We certainly do.
Texas born and bred. Yes.
Well, as you can see, right behind us is where the weigh-ins are going to take place momentarily. We're going to give you some analysis up front, and then we're going to give some on the back end as well. So stick around for the entire broadcast. Gentlemen, we start with just overall impressions of fight week, what you've seen. Stack, I'll start with you. You're a big boxing fan. I know you've interviewed Errol Spence a couple of times. Mm-hmm. What is your impression of Errol Spence heading into Saturday?
Just a confident fighter. He's still confident. He might not say it, but I know everything that he's been through is in the back of his mind, and we all know that. So that's what I'm anxious to see. I know he's a champion, but when you're dealing with adversity, it really shows the true champion you are. So I'm ready to see how he responds.
And then El Diamante, Yordenis Ugas. Well, how do you think he is taking all this in? He finally got over the hump with the Pacquiao fight, and now he's in a title unification bout. He has to be feeling the nerves, but this is everything he's wanted as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a guy that at the beginning of the career, he took a few losses, but he hired Ismael Salas, his new trainer, and they have grown together. And I think Salas has added different dimensions, better dimensions to his game. Now he has become more of a inside fighter. You know, he's more assertive. He gets more physical. He knows how to fight in the pocket, in the inside, because that's what Errol is going to force him to do. So if he does that, he's prepared to do that. He's able to create that distance, take a step back, move to the right, move to the left, circle around him, and then get back on the outside and throw that long jab and that right hand or overhand right hand that he kept catching Manny Pacquiao with.
BC, biggest question for you about Errol Spence heading into this contest?
Without question, you look at the long layoffs. It was the accident following the 2019 win over Sean Porter, which Errol Spence did come back in flying colors and outpoint Danny Garcia. But then he takes 15 more months off, the retina surgery on the left eye, missing out on that big payday against Manny Pacquiao. One thing is very key to note on Spence coming into this fight. He looks to be in the best shape of his career now that he's hired a full-time nutritionist for the first time. And one thing he keeps saying, which is really getting my attention, is a lot of people are asking, can I be that same fighter of old? I'm better than that fighter of old because now I'm 100% focused. I don't have 1 foot out, 1 foot in like I used to. Raul,
right.
When you finally figure out, we talk about physical primes. There's also a mental prime. It seems like Spence has figured out how to put it all together at 32.
I think so. I mean, him hiring the nutritionist to make weight. I mean, he has been making 147, guys, ever since the 2012 Olympics. That's like, what, 10
years.
10 years. And as you get older, your metabolism is not the same. So now that's something he doesn't have to worry in camp. You know, when you go to camp to get in shape. You go in camp to work on your skills. You go into camp to work on the game plan that your trainer has for you. And, you know, I see him real focused. I asked him in the fighter meeting, people say that, you know, you might not be the same guy. you this, that. What do you have to say? Like, you know what? I might not be the same guy, but I've been feeling great in training camp. I've been doing really good in sparring. I'm going to put on a great show, and I'm coming here to win tonight.
What kind of athlete, if you're an athlete, what kind of doubts linger in the back of the mind coming back from injury? Either ones you've suffered or guys you've seen. What are the biggest difficulties in just getting back to where you were? We've seen it happen, but it can't be easy.
Well, in basketball, it's different because you practice, and the only way you can actually get in game shape in basketball is by playing. But in boxing, you can spar. You can spar, and you can get real close to actual matches. So I think for him, I think that's been the benefit for him to get his confidence back up, being able to get hit a couple of times and actually get into actually being almost real fights before the actual real fight. In basketball, practice doesn't get you ready for games. Only games do. In boxing, I think sparring can help you more than most people think.
Fair enough. All right, we have to throw it down to Jimmy Lennon Jr. We're going to be here after the weigh-ins to give you all kind of analysis, maybe some special guests as well. But without further ado, let's go now to the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you and welcome to Texas Live. As Premier Boxing Champions presents the official weigh-in for our big night of action taking place tomorrow night at AT&T Stadium. And it's all sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and Memory starring Liam Neeson. Well, fans, we're ready to bring out our fighters for the Showtime Championship Boxing opening attraction, a welterweight attraction, a special one indeed. First, please welcome the fighters as they make their way to the stage from Brooklyn, New York. His record 21 wins, 2 losses, 7 wins, coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the battle-ready contender, Zachary Zungri Ochoa. And now his opponent from La Quinta, California. Undefeated at 24 wins, no losses, 22 wins, coming by way of knockout. Here is the talented young star of the welterweight division, Brandon Lee. Well, fans, we're ready to bring our fighters to the scale for the Showtime Championship Boxing opening attraction. First to the scale in his 24th professional bout, the welterweight contender, Zachary Zungri Ochoa. 141 1/4 pounds, 141 1/4 pounds for Zachary Ochoa. And now his opponent, the undefeated, hard-hitting welterweight standout, Brandon Lee. One 142.5 pounds, 142.5 pounds for Brandon Lee. And there they are, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon Lee, Zachary Ochoa opens up our Showtime Championship Boxing, 6 p.m. local time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Well, fans, at this time, Premier Boxing Champions continues with our official weigh-in for our Showtime Championship Boxing featured attraction and our first world title attraction of the evening. Please welcome the fighters as they make their way to the stage. First, the challenger from Kaunas, Lithuania. He is undefeated at 13 wins, no losses, 1 no decision, 9 wins coming by way of knockout. He'll be making his first attempt at a title. Here is the WBA #1 ranked welterweight in the world, Eimantas Stanionis. And his opponent is the defending champion, fighting out of Indio, California by way of Russia. His record, 14 wins, no losses, 1 no contest, 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Welcome the WBA regular welterweight world champion, Radzab No Mercy Butayev. And it looks like our fighters are ready to step onto the scale. 12 rounds of boxing, WBA regular welterweight championship of the world. First, the challenger, a 2016 Olympian undefeated challenger, Eimantas Stanionis. 146.5 pounds, 146.5 pounds for Eimantas Stanionis. Limit is 147. He makes it quite easily. And his opponent is the defending champion, making the first defense of his title, the undefeated WBA welterweight world champion, Radzab No Mercy Butayev. 146.5 pounds, the same weight as his opponent. Butayev weighs in at 146.5 pounds. And there they are, ladies and gentlemen. Showtime Championship Boxing featured attraction, WBA Welterweight Championship of the World, a battle of undefeateds. Radzab Butayev, Eimantas Stanionis. Well, fans, that concludes the weigh-in for our Showtime Championship Boxing portion of our program tomorrow night. Once again, Eastern Time starting at 7 p.m., local Central Time 6 p.m. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the official weigh-in for the pay-per-view portion of tomorrow night's action, brought to you by Premier Boxing Champions and sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and Memory, starring Liam Neeson. Our opening attraction features an exciting showdown in the welterweight division. Welcome our fighters to the stage at this time. First, from Riverside, California. He's a 2-time world title challenger, currently ranked the WBC #7 welterweight in the world. Please welcome the Riverside Rocky, Josecito Lopez. And his opponent is fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada by way of Petersboro, Ontario, Canada. He is undefeated, 20-0 with 9 wins, coming by way of knockout. Ranked the WBO number 6 welterweight contender, known as the Crippler, Cody Crowley. And as our fighters are preparing to step onto the scale, reminding you our Showtime pay-per-view begins at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's 8 p.m. Central Time. And our fighters are ready to step onto the scale at this time. 21 knockouts in his 49 professional bouts. The battle-ready veteran world contender, please welcome the Riverside Rocky, Josecito Lopez. 146.5 pounds, 146.5 pounds for Josecito Lopez. And his opponent is a determined force of the division, the undefeated southpaw contender, the Crippler, Cody Crowley. Cody Crowley weighs in at a ready 144.5 pounds, 144.5 pounds for Cody Crowley. And there they are, ladies and gentlemen. Welterweights open up our pay-per-view attraction tomorrow night. Josecito Lopez, the Riverside Rocky versus the Crippler, Cody Crowley. 10 rounds, welterweights in the ring. Well, fans, Premier Boxing Champions continues with our official weigh-in for our boxing extravaganza taking place tomorrow night at AT&T Stadium. This time we present lightweights and a special attraction. Please welcome to the stage from Mexico City, La Ciudad de Mexico. With a record of 27 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws, he has 19 wins coming by way of knockout. He's the former WBC super featherweight champion of the world, Francisco El Bandido Vargas. And we invite to the stage at this time, fighting out of Seattle, Washington, by way of Los Mochis, Sinaloa, Mexico. His record 11-0 with 7 knockouts. Here's the undefeated Jose El Ray Valenzuela. And our lightweights are ready to step onto the scale at this time. Scheduled 10 rounds of boxing. For the WBC Continental America's Lightweight Championship, weight limit on this fight is 135 pounds. Here is the former Olympian, former WBC Super Featherweight World Champion, Francisco El Bandido Vargas. 134.5 pounds, 134.5 pounds for Francisco Vargas. And his opponent, the undefeated, talented, rising star and southpaw contender, Jose El Ray Valenzuela. $134 3/4 pounds. 134 3/4 pounds for Jose Valenzuela. And there they are, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds for the WBC Continental Americas Lightweight Championship. Jose El Rayo Valenzuela versus Francisco El Bandido Vargas. Both of our fighters proudly representing their home country of Mexico. This will be a great battle tomorrow night, live on Showtime Pay-Per-View. Well, fans, Premier Boxing Champions continues with our official weigh-in, 10-round lightweight special attraction. Welcome our fighters to the stage at this time. First, fighting out of Miami by way of Guantanamo, Cuba. His record, 30 wins, 4 losses, 18 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the former unified champion of the world, El Ciclón de Guantanamo, Yordenis Gamboa. And his opponent joining us to the stage from Mexico City, La Ciudad de Mexico. 22-2-1, 15 knockouts. He's the current WBC and WBO number 4 lightweight in the world. Please welcome Isaac Pitbull Cruz. And the fighters ready to step onto the scale at this time. This is our co-main event of the evening with 18 knockouts and 35 bouts. The acclaimed former world champion El Ciclón de Guantanamo, Yordenis Gamboa. 134 1/4 pounds. 134 1/4 pounds for Yordenis Gamboa. And his opponent joining us to the scale at this time, the exciting former world title challenger, the number 4 lightweight in the world, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Isaac Cruz, official first attempt at a weigh-in is 136.5 pounds. 136.5 pounds. The weight limit on this fight is 135. He has 1 hour to come back and make the weight limit on this fight. Certainly he will. This is our co-main event of the evening.
Isaac Cruz. By 12:30. Okay. Hey, vámonos.
And there they are, ladies and gentlemen, the lightweight special attraction, 10 rounds of boxing, the co-main event of the evening. Isaac Pitbull Cruz, Yordenis Gamboa. Well, fans, before we bring out our fighters for the main event of the evening at this time, we'd like to welcome a special guest joining us and bring him onto the stage at this time. The Dallas Cowboys pick from Penn State. He set the rookie sack record, named the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. Please welcome the weigh-in special guest, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons assisting us in a special, very special occasion here as we bring out our fighters for the main event, for the weigh-in main event of the evening. All right, fans, here we go. Premier Boxing Champions presents the official weigh-in for the main event of the evening, brought to you by TGB Promotions, Man Down Promotions, and Showtime. Sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and Memory, starring Liam Neeson. All right, fans, here we go. Let's bring out our fighters. First, the WBA World Champion, fighting out of Las Vegas by way of Santiago de Cuba in Cuba. His weight, 27 wins. His record, 27 wins, 4 losses, 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the current defending WBA welterweight champion of the world, 54 Milagros, Yordenis Ugas. And now, ladies and gentlemen, on to the stage at this time from Dallas, Texas. His record 27-0 with 21 knockouts. A true star of boxing today. The undefeated IBF and WBC welterweight champion of the world, The Truth, Errol Spence Jr. And we're ready to bring our fighters to the scale at this time. Once again, this is for the Unified Welterweight Championship of the World. 12 rounds of boxing scheduled. Weight limit on this fight is a very strict 147 pounds. First to the scale, in his 4th world title appearance and the 2nd defense of his current title, here is the defending WBA welterweight champion of the world, Yordenis Ugas.
146.8. 146.8.
146 3/4 pounds. 146 3/4 pounds for Yordenis Ugas. And his opponent ready to step onto the scale at this time in his 7th consecutive world title appearance. The reigning WBC and IBF welterweight champion of the world, The Truth, Errol Spence Jr. 146 1/4 pounds. 146 1/4 pounds for Errol Spence Jr.
146 and what? 146 and a half. I have it. 146 and 3/4 for Ugas. 146 and 1/4 for Spence. Okay, I said 146 and a half. 146 and a half. 3/4 each. You're right.
Just maybe alert him in case he's...
I will.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll do it. There they are, ladies and gentlemen. Cowboy great Micah Parsons in between them. Errol Spence Jr. versus Yordenis Ugas for the Unified Welterweight Championship of the World. Errol Spence Jr., want to ask you if you have a few words for your fans here in attendance on the eve of this tremendous Unified Welterweight Championship of the World.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and supporting me. I'm putting on a great show and a great performance. Shout out to my family over there. You already know it, number love. I love you, Dallas. We're going to put on a great show tomorrow. I'm going to put on another great performance. Man down, we had another strap to my belt. Let's go.
Errol Spence Jr., the IBF and WBC welterweight champion of the world.
Thank you, Jimmy. Good job. Yep.
All right, we are back. The weigh-ins have now completed. Nothing left for us to do except wait for the fight itself. Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell, Raul Marquez, and Stack himself, Steven Jackson, right here to talk about everything we just saw. All right, gentlemen, it's done. Nothing left but the fight, but we do have to talk about what we saw. Stack, first, your impressions of how they looked on the stage.
Unbelievable. Whew. I mean, I've never seen guys so ripped. You know these guys are champions and they come in to fight, but when you get to see the press conference and see their actual bodies, that shows how much they prepare and get ready for it, how hard it is. So I look up to these guys. This is why I love this fight, because these guys take care of their bodies and they come to fight. After this press conference, it's making me more interested and making me more ready to see this fight. I'm anxious.
All right, I think we have a guest. Should we go ahead and bring him on?
Yeah.
There we go. There he is.
Y'all making my day being a Cowboys, man.
Let's get him a microphone. Do we have a microphone for him?
We got Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys coming in right here.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Baby Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor.
Yes,
Micah
Baby Lawrence Taylor, my guy.
What's up, buddy? How you doing, man? All right.
How are you? Nice to see you. Micah, we saw you on stage there kind of in the middle of the face-off. We saw you nodding. You were feeling it up there, were you not?
The intensity was crazy. Not one person blinked. I was like, I would have laughed or blinked or something.
Oh, no, it's game time.
I couldn't take that serious. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Michael, we talk about the big stakes in this welterweight unification at AT&T Stadium. It's massive. That's your office. That's where you play. Did you have that same adjustment period going, oh crap, I'm a rookie and I'm in a key spot in the biggest stadium in the world here?
I'll never look at myself as a rookie. You can ask on events. I was getting on the elevator. I was like, man, I don't want to be a rookie. I just want to be a person that just play, man.
Yeah.
Those are just titles. You can't listen to titles. You just got to go out there and be you. So, that's what they got to go do.
And you damn sure didn't play like a rookie.
No, sir. All right, talk me through this fight. Spence versus Ugas. What are you expecting in this contest?
I want to see a knockout.
Yep.
I like Spence, terrible accident, but I think he's going to come out here and he's going to finish right where he left off.
You're not worried about the layoff or the injuries or anything like that?
I took a year off. What that mean? You know what I'm saying? And you are who you are at the end of the day. Right. And Spence is a dog.
All right, but what's the key to taking time off, but then getting right back on the horse? What did you do to make sure you were ready to go?
Just trust it into your training. Make sure you do everything you've been doing or even more, making sure you're not missing a step. Listening to the small details is going to be everything about the details now.
All right, here's the most important question. Where are you watching the fight tomorrow night?
Ringside.
I'm right there with you.
Ringside. I ain't missing out for the world. Ringside.
Have you been to an Errol Spence Jr. fight before live?
No, this is my first one.
Oh, wow.
I have, bro. And you went for a treat.
Yeah?
All right, Micah, you've had so much great success in a short time. At Penn State, you entered linebacker. You switched over from defensive end and made your mark. This guy saying big words, Stack, saying our boy Micah got some Lawrence Taylor vibes. When you hear that so young in your career,
he don't like it.
22, how does that go to your
he
head,
don't like
man?
it.
How do you feel with that?
Lawrence Taylor's a great and legend, and I let him keep all of that stuff because he's the best defensive player ever. And it's a good feeling, but at the end of the day, I got to create my own name, my own legacy, I need to get into a league of my own, you know. So I got to keep working and keep getting better.
We've seen Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys. This is Jerry World. He loves big fights. Is it an adjustment meeting the boss for the first time? Because he does have a little bit of an aura coming off him, like a real champion.
You know, I'm just super excited. It's like my first year. I come from humble beginnings to experience stuff like this. So it's been truly amazing, and things I got to witness and be a part of this past year. So I'm truly excited to be a part of something like this.
All right, give us your prediction. I know you're looking for a knockout, but if you're a betting man, how far does it go? What round?
You know, Ugass looked pretty serious up there.
Yeah, he's
so
right.
I'm thinking it's going to go like at least 9 rounds.
Okay.
At least 9, maybe 8-9 with a knockout. 8-9.
Oh, okay, Michael.
Raul, you think 8-9? Are you?
I'll tell you what, I like the stare down. You know what I like about both guys? They're highly skilled fighters. The mutual respect. There's no bad blood between them. I think this is gonna be a great fight. I'm going the distance, guys. I think it's gonna go the distance. 12 rounds.
Go the distance.
12 hard rounds. Yes.
You know, if you were playing fullback and you were coming up on this guy up the middle, it'll be a long day. It'll be a long day for you.
I mean,
Okay?
he looks like a big guy. I don't know much about football, but he's a big dude. So.
Well, Micah, congratulations on all your success. I say that reluctantly as a Washington Commanders fan, but I got to give you your props just the same.
Cowboys.
You know it.
Congratulations. Have fun tomorrow night.
I got you, baby.
Oh, the champ.
There go the champ.
The champ is here.
My guy. My boy.
Are we going to get him a
You know
chair?
I was
Let's get
gonna
him a
miss this,
chair.
boy.
What are we doing?
I think he's got your chair, yeah.
I think so.
Let's bring him in. What's up, Errol?
Hi, Errol. How are you?
All right, champ.
Texas man down, baby. Man
Come
down.
sit
You're
down.
looking good.
Yeah,
Have a seat. Sit on in, champ.
We need you off your feet, baby.
It's the
We need you off your feet.
unified welterweight champion of
I
the
got
world.
you late round knockout. Just make sure I get that.
All right.
Know, bro.
Errol Spence Jr. joins us now right here. Errol, everything, the weigh-ins are over. Everything's over. You look to be in absolutely phenomenal shape. Was this camp, I know your camps are always intense, but with your life change and everything else, was this camp also a little bit different? Was the camp, here we go, we're going to turn the microphone on. Was the camp for this one a little bit different given some of your life changes? You look to be in incredible shape.
Man, I've been training hard, man. I'm focused. Training camp been going great. I mean, those accidents and the injuries, it made me understand that boxing is a lifestyle. It's 24/7 ground, 365 days. And I gotta keep training, I gotta stay focused. And I'm doing this more than myself, I'm doing this for my family. So it just helped me to stay focused and stay on my grind.
And Errol, we watch you on All Access. You got the horses, you got the farm, you're shoveling hay. That's like old school Rocky IV style to get ready for the big one. Are you a changed man in terms of your interest personally? I see a much more relaxed version.
Yes.
Definitely, man. That's Texas life, first of all. And it gives me stuff to do. When I was fighting 2 times a year, so I have a lot of time to myself. I got probably like 5-6 months where I'm not doing nothing. I'm not training, I'm not fighting. So I have a lot of off time to do whatever I need to do, whatever I wanted to do. And then a kid with a lot of money, you know, you get in trouble, you start doing different things. So the farm life helped me out. I got chickens, cows, horses. It gives me something to do on my off time when I'm not training. It gives me something besides my kids and boxing.
Errol, all through camp, you know, you've been training hard. You said you've been feeling good in sparring, working hard, and you said you predicted a good fight. Yesterday at the press conference, the first time I hear you say you predict a knockout, you're going for the knockout, you're going to get a knockout. Why has that changed?
I love to be entertaining. I want to put on a great show, great performance. I'm fighting at home. I'm getting a third chance at boxing. And I'm ready to put on a great show, and I want to do it for my fans. And I haven't got a knockout in a while, and I want a knockout. And it's something I'm definitely looking for. And I think if I do get them hurt, I'm going to get them out of there.
You say hi to all your Mexican fans here in Texas that they love an aggressive-minded fighter. They want to get a knockout. I know that's why you want a knockout tomorrow.
Definitely for the Mexican fans. And for everybody in Texas.
You were staring across from Ugass at the face-off there. What'd you see?
I just see he's ready. You know, he comes from Cuba. He's definitely ready. He comes from that old school boxing background. So he's ready too, but I'm more than ready to put on a great show and a great performance. I got a lot of fire and I got a lot of ambition just for my family, my friends, people that's in the state of Texas, people that's coming to come see me fight.
I got a key question. Sorry to cut you off. Against Mikey Garcia, you wanted to prove a point that you can outbox a pound-for-pound boxer for 12 rounds. Against Sean Porter, you wanted to prove a point that you got more dog in you. What point are you looking to prove against Ugass Saturday night?
I'm putting the point that I'm the best in 147 pounds. I'm the best in the division. I'm making a statement come Saturday night. I want the knockout. I'm going to get the knockout. I'm going to get his belt. And then after that, it's time to be undisputed of the world. And I'm going to go after Terrence Crawford right after I get through Ugass.
That's what I want to hear.
That's what we all want to hear.
We didn't have to say it. We know what you want.
Oh, you already know.
You had a nutritionist for this camp. Did it make the weight cut easier?
Nutritionist made the weight cut way easy, man. I don't know why I haven't been doing that because it's a tax write-off anyway. So I should have been doing it, but, just being cheap, just being young. But now... I got a nutritionist. He's taking care of me, making sure I eat the right things, I drink the right things, and making sure my body doesn't want for anything. And I feel great. I feel strong. Usually when after a weigh-in, like I'm real dull. I'm sleepy, I'm tired. I'm energetic now. I'm focused. Everything's intact, and I'm ready to put on a great show tomorrow.
Go ahead. I got a question. You got a whole bunch of new ink. Is that from the journey you've been through and everything you've been through? Because I know a lot of tattoos tell a story.
Yeah.
Same thing with you?
Yeah, same thing with me. Every story, everything I got tattooed on me basically either tells a story or I got my family on my back. I got myself. I got Muhammad Ali. I got Tyson. I got a scripture right here. So every tattoo I got means something. And I get these tattoos along the journey of my journey that I've been going through with boxing, just life period.
Okay, we got to let Errol go. Errol, thanks for all your time here. I can't wait to see the fight, and we appreciate you sitting down with us here today.
Thank you.
Appreciate
being here.
There he goes. Micah, if you want to join us, you're certainly welcome. We'd love to have you.
Oh, yeah, let me get my practice for when I'm on TV one day.
There he is, Micah Parsons. Just to reset here, we got Steven Jackson, Raul Marquez, Brian Campbell, Luke Thomas. Let me remind folks how they can buy this pay-per-view. Show.com/PPV. Show.com/PPV. You can go ahead and order it now, of course.
I said you was not
no time like the present. Go ahead and do it. I believe there are some limited tickets left, obviously, as well, if you want to go to the box office at AT&T Stadium. But show.com/PPV. I want to remind folks also, Brian Campbell, we're having a 7 p.m. start on YouTube and Showtime. YouTube will be on the call. What can fans expect for that?
Showtime Championship Boxing, 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, like Luke mentioned, on the YouTube, on Showtime, a 2-fight card. The hot prospect Brandon Lee to kick things off. And how about for that WBA regular welterweight title? Armantas Staniotis, Rajab Butayev. We should expect thunder.
First of all, Brandon Lee, knockout artist, good-looking kid, Korean, Mexican. We expect a knockout again. He's got a lot of power. Butayev, Staniotis. I'm telling you guys, I'm so excited about that fight. That could possibly be the fight of the whole night. Two highly skilled fighters coming at each other. They have that mentality of being aggressive, and they're going to collide at one point. I mean, that's a pick-em fight.
They want a shot.
I don't know who to pick.
And they want a shot at the winner of this main event come Saturday night. But 9 p.m. Eastern, the kickoff to that pay-per-view, Showtime pay-per-view, the only way to do it. We got some good matchups up and down the card, as we saw on this
The entire card is full of bangers. So you'll get 6 fights if you pay for the pay-per-view, and then you watch, of course, on YouTube or Showtime for it's Showtime Championship Boxing, but prior to the beginning of the main card. So 6 very good fights along the way. But, of course, we're talking about Errol Spence taking on Spence Ugas. You just sat next to him. I got to tell you, he looks shredded on stage. He looks like there isn't an ounce of fat on him.
And he looks clear, too. He looks clear-headed.
And you know what? I see a lot of maturity in Errol. He has grown. He is 33 years old. He's not the same guy that he was in his 20s. I think the accident, the whole operation, changed his mind about a lot of things. He's going through different things in life. You know how you grow up? Like you finally grew up, Brian? We all grew up?
Let me know.
I don't think Brian and I grew up like you two gentlemen. Or Micah as well.
No, but he's very focused. He's very focused. I like what I see in Errol.
And sometimes it's good to have a situation like he had, because it brings you back to what's important.
Yes.
And the opportunities you have.
Right.
I know with me, when I got into the brawl, I almost lost my job. I almost wasn't able to play basketball again. But realize being in that situation, it makes me how much I appreciate the game. I think he's going through the same thing with boxing. Having those situations that he's been through is making him appreciate boxing. He's coming back with more focus now.
We can talk a lot about the hard road Errol Spence did to keep his championship reign on the tracks and get back here. But how about Yordenis Ugas? Not supposed to be here under normal boxing terms. Was 15-3 just 5 or 6 years ago. Was looked at as a little bit of a bust of a prospect. What did he do since then? Won 7 of 8. I think that only loss against Sean Porter.
Highly
I scored
disputed,
it for
highly
Ugas.
disputed. Yes.
And then he comes in on last minute last year to replace Errol Spence and takes out Manny Pacquiao.
Right.
I mean, let's bring in another star athlete here that knows what it's like. When they're counting you out, which they're counting out Ugas every step of the way, it builds a little chip. It builds a little chip on your shoulder.
Oh, 100%. And I don't think you should never sleep on nobody. You know, underdog stories are real, and it always keeps you humble too, you know? And that's why even when you're on your top, you always got to stay humble because you never want to forget where you started and how you got there. So when I'm talking to Earl in the back, I understood exactly where he come from, what his mindset was like. You could tell he's still so much hungry for more, you know? And that's the thing that I love to say. Always stay hungry. He hungry. I hope Ugas is hungry. I can't wait for the fight.
Raul, when you look back at what Ugas did against Pacquiao last August, last minute, weak notice, unanimous decision, what impressed you the most inside the ring that night?
Honestly, he was ready for the fight. When you're a fighter, you got to be ready for anything. Anything happens. You know, he had already been training for another fight, but when you get an opportunity to fight Manny Pacquiao, why wouldn't you take it? He was ready. He took advantage. He was successful in winning the fight, and now look where he's at now. I think for both fighters, whoever wins, it's a great comeback story. Why? Because for Ugas, at the beginning of his career, how we talked about, he took some losses, then he changed trainers. The whole story, how he got from Cuba to the United States.
Taking 2 years off after the losses, too?
It's a great comeback story if he wins. For Errol, you know, the wreck after the Sean Porter fight, the eye surgery, and then winning here big tomorrow, winning all belts and looking to fight Terrence Crawford, that's another great comeback story. They're all in it. I mean, this is great for boxing. This is great for everybody, and I'm just happy to be a part of this.
Let me talk about the biggest weapon everyone thinks that either guy has. For Errol Spence, got to be the jab. The jab runs every part of his offense. But for Ugas, Raul, what is Ugas' best weapon? What's the thing he does so well?
I talked about it earlier. Ugas is now more of a complete fighter. His trainer, Ismael Celis, has brought different dimensions to his game. He's a better inside fighter. He knows how to fight in the pocket. And he's going to be forced to fight in the pocket because Errol is that type of guy. Errol is going to dissect you. He dissects you with a jab, up and down. He's a grinder. He comes from less to more. As the rounds go, man, he's going to chop down that tree. And that's what makes Errol so dangerous. On top of that, he's strong. He's got power. But like you said, like Ugas, if Ugas could box at times and at times go toe-to-toe with him, it could make it an interesting fight.
And also the second southpaw in a row that Ugas has fought. Pacquiao was very different than Spence, but it helps to get some of those looks.
Ugas 6-1 in his career against southpaws, so this is not something he hasn't seen before. Guys, we talked about the stakes. The winner going to be the power player in this division, 3 of 4 titles. But the boxing politics have robbed us of getting an undisputed champion.
Right.
Stack, it feels after you heard Errol Spence in that chair mention, if I win this, I want Terrence Crawford in that WBO belt.
He didn't say Terrence Crawford. He just said he wanted to be undisputed.
It feels like there's no longer those walls in the way of making that big fight happen. What a time to be alive as a boxing fan.
And and he knows, just like everybody else knows, that's the fight we all want to see. Yeah. But he also understands, too, he got to take care of business at first.
Right, yes.
All right, one more reminder, show.com/PPV, show.com/PPV. That is where you can, right now, you can go on your phone, you can go on your tablet, your computer, whatever, and you can go and buy the pay-per-view. You'll be ready, of course, on Saturday night. 7 p.m. start with you two gentlemen. Going to have you on the call for Showtime Championship Boxing beginning at 7 p.m. in the East. That'll be on Showtime as well as YouTube. And then that pay-per-view main card starts at 9 p.m. just behind us over there where Micah Parsons plays and many other stars and athletes as well.
I mean, this guy's unbelievable, right? As a rookie?
Well, his neck is the size of the rest of the panel.
He's Harrisburg, Pennsylvania strong.
Oh, is that where you're from, Pennsylvania?
Harrisburg, PA, baby. Let it be known, man. Shout out to Harrisburg, PA.
That's what I'm talking about.
Fair enough. All right, let's do some predictions down the line. Who you think's going to win what round? Micah, we start with you.
Spence in 8.
Spence in 8. That's a bold prediction, Micah. Yeah. That's a bold prediction. He's sticking with it, though.
He's a bold-ass player.
Yeah,
that's why, okay?
He's a winner for a reason. All right, Stack, what you got?
I'm going Spence. I think it's going by decision. I don't think it'll be a knockout. I have a lot of respect for Ugas and the way he prepares and how professional he is. I'm just not going to say Earl's going to knock him out. Even though I want to see it, I think he's going to go 12-round decision, Errol Spence.
I got respect for both fighters. I think Ugas is going to make it a very interesting fight in the first half of the fight. But in the second half of the fight, my man from Texas, Errol Spence, man down, is going to take over. Perhaps give him a couple of 8 counts.
Ooh!
Perhaps. And Ugas has a lot of heart.
Yes.
And it'll end up going the distance. All Errol Spence, EJ, all the way.
I like Spence by decision, but I got great news for you out here, especially if you're looking to purchase this fight. Styles make fights. This has high-speed chess written all over it. Great skills at the highest level, but they're going to go after it. Why? Because what makes Yordenis Ugas good, he can get close to you, hide behind that high guard without being too defensive, irresponsible, and he can bring the dog out of Errol Spence. If he does that, we're in for a great fight. Can he get over the top of Errol Spence? It kind of depends on what version at 32 is Spence. He looks great. He talks a great game. We're going to find out Saturday night. I like Spence in a thriller by unanimous decision.
I'm with El Diamante here. I think it's obviously Spence and Mayweather have completely different games, but it's the same rule. If you don't beat Mayweather in the first 6 rounds, you ain't winning the last 6. It's not going to happen.
Oh, but Ugas comes on late. I don't know if you saw the Sean Porter fight.
I did. Very disputed, but I'm just saying I think so highly of Errol Spence, and I do respect Ugas, but I think Spence's jab is going to open him up, and I think by the last 6 he's going to take him apart.
And the body shots of Errol Spence early on are going to take an effect. In the second half of the fight, Errol's going to invest in good body shots. Second half of the fight, you're going to see Ugas wear down.
Showtime.com/PPV if you can't be here in Dallas, Texas for it. But if you're here in Dallas, you are in for a treat. 9 p.m. start in the East. Show.com/pay-per-view. That's it for us here at the weigh-ins.
I'm excited.
We got only winners on this panel. I wanted to point that out. Former world champion, 2003 NBA champion, 2-time award-winning podcast host. Maybe we can get a
is that the same as an NBA championship?
Maybe we can get a ring on Michael Parsons over there. Okay, I think there's a spot. There's a spot on that hand.
My podcast awards right there with my
fair enough. Real quick, before we go, we should not lose sight of the fact that the card is stacked. Yordenis Gamboa taking on Isaac Cruz.
Hey,
Isaac Cruz did miss weight. We don't have an update to that yet, but if he makes the weight, it should be a hell of a fight.
Fresh off that loss to Gervonta Davis, in which he really showed himself out. He wants to make a statement, but he's got to make a statement first in the next hour. He's got to lose 1.5 pounds to get even with Gamboa. It should be a good fight.
Also, I think you should. I mean, I think it's a little bit embarrassing that he didn't make weight 1.5 pounds. He should have been weight, but maybe he's making big checks now. Like maybe he's not as serious.
Or could he be injured and couldn't do the road work?
His pocket's heavy. His pocket's heavy, but he is the pit bull. He is the pit bull, Isaac Cruz. He is the pit bull, Isaac Cruz. Exciting fighter. He comes to fight. And that should be a good one, too.
And then, of course, Josecito Lopez taking on Zachary Ochoa as well. Lopez, I mean, this one, you know what you're in for. 2 absolute rams battering into each other, no doubt about it. There you go. A hell of a card, top to bottom. 7 p.m. in the East for these 2 gentlemen on Showtime, and then YouTube. And then 9 p.m., of course, is the start of the main card, where we eventually end up with Errol Spence Jr. fighting Yordenis Ugas for 3 of the 4 welterweight world titles. Want to thank everyone for watching us here today, for Micah Parsons, for Steven Jackson, for El Diamante himself, Raul Marquez, Brian Campbell, Luke Thomas. Thank you so much. Show.com/PPV if you haven't already done it. We'll see you guys tomorrow at the fights.
Champion versus champion. And in the end, we find out who is the big fish of the welterweight division. 27-4, Yordenis Ugas.
You know who I am by now. This is not only going to be a clash between us, but also between 2 of the greatest trainers in the world. Spence promised a knockout, I promise a win.
27-0, Errol Spence Jr.
I know Ugas coming to fight. I know his coach got a so-called great game plan. But on Saturday now, I'm looking forward to adding the WBA to my title.
What does this one bring to you to be here in Dallas, have 3 belts on the line?
It's an honor to be fighting at home, and I welcome the challenge.
I came back from being 15-3, and ever since then, I have established myself as part of the elite. I promise you, blood, sweat, everything that I have to give. This fight is everything to me.
I'm going to play his ass. I'm put on a great show and another great performance. I want to become the future undisputed welterweight champion of the world.